Oh, good morning, everybody, and thanks for joining me today for our next Railbookers webinar, where we're going to look at potential holidays for your next special occasion. I do hope that you enjoyed the bank holiday weekend and are looking forward to the next half an hour or so to learn a bit more about what we can offer you for those special and perhaps luxury journeys. So just before we start, looking at those holidays, I'm going to talk you through a little bit about Railbookers. If you have joined our webinars before, just indulge me for the next 5 minutes or so, because you may have seen this before. If you haven't, this is a good opportunity for you to learn a little bit more about the company itself. Just going to start by talking you through as well just a quick promotion that we've got on, which for any of you that are looking to get out and about for a special occasion or to make that next holiday a little bit more luxurious, might be nice for you to hear. We have a pick your perk promotion, which basically means that we're giving anywhere up to £500 per couple or £250 per person towards upgrading elements of your trip. So that could be anything from upgrading the class of travel on the trains to the standard of hotels, even extending your stay by a few nights or adding some tours on in the destination. So depending on the length of trip, you'll get anywhere between £300 and £500, £150 and £250 per person to put towards some additional extras or upgrades on your holiday. Just something to make it that extra special when everyone can get out and about again. Also, just to talk through a few of the benefits of booking with Railbookers. So one of them, I think, is that we can book anywhere from imminently all the way through to 24 months out into 2023. So as soon as travel opens up, if you're somebody that wants to get away there and then, we can start to book you straight off. If you're thinking actually we'd rather wait until 2022, or we want to travel this year but we also want to plan a big special luxury trip maybe 12-18 months into the future, we can start to look at those holidays for you as well, all the way through into early 2023. We also offer maximum flexibility with our holidays, which basically means anything that you see on our websites, anything that you see on our webinars or on our newsletters can be tailor-made to fit yourself, so they're not fixed. Any length of time, any dates that you wish to travel, if you wish to add extra destinations in, as I say, any upgrades that you might like, you let us know and we'll be able to be as flexible as we can with our holidays to be able to offer you exactly what you're looking for. And the other, couple of reasons there, of course, travel by train across Europe can be quite complex. Anybody that may have seen the European Rail Network looks like a bit of a spider web of rail lines. We're here to take the complexity out of it, make it as easy for you as possible with our expert knowledge. Nothing's too complicated for us. And we have a huge selection of trips. So again, anything that you don't see today, or any destinations that we don't feature that you might like to take a look at, just have a look on our website, because we've got over 1,000 different holidays on there, and hopefully one will catch your eye. Please feel free to download any of our brochures. We have our Railbookers Independent Rail Holidays brochure, which is our worldwide holidays. We've also introduced a few more this year. We have our Luxury Rail Journeys brochure, and also something that's become very popular for us as well, UK and Ireland Independent Rail Holidays, with the restrictions that have been put in place, of course, over the last 12 months. Domestic holidays in and around the UK have become a lot more popular. And also we have a cruise extensions brochure as well. Anybody that might be taking a river cruise, if you wish to extend your river cruise by taking your rail trip to the first port or from the last port back to your final destination, then we offer holidays that tag on to cruises very nicely. Also, just to mention our maximum flexibility policy. So we are offering any of our customers maximum flexibility up to 5 days before travel. What that means is that you can amend your trip or change your dates anywhere up to 5 days before your trip departs. We're offering this for any bookings up until the 30th of June 2021. So no change or cancellation fees if you do wish to change or amend your holiday. If you were looking to travel, pretty soon, maybe into July and August, and then you got to a couple of weeks out before and thought, actually, I'd rather push this back to September or October, as I say, you can do that up to 5 days before travel. It doesn't have to be for the same holiday either. You can transfer the funds to any of our holidays and travel anywhere that you please. As I say, we're trying to be as flexible as possible with you all in these difficult times. I do like to mention as well, we have 24-hour support from our global offices. So we do have offices in London, the US, Canada, and Sydney, Australia. Really what that means is that no matter where you are in the world or what time of day it is, you should be able to get through to somebody to help you out if you do need assistance while you're on your on your trip. We have direct rail partnerships with all the main operators across Europe and America. Deutsche Bahn in Germany, Trenitalia in Italy, Amtrak, as you can see there, of course, Belmond, who operate the Orient Express. This is what allows us to make those recommendations to you, and to any recommendations you might have for us as to where you want to sit on the train, which side of the train, if you want to be upper or lower deck, food preferences if they're serving, and it allows us to book up to 24 months out as well. We have a really, really good partnership with all the rail operators globally. And just finally, before we jump into our holidays, very pertinent right now, how a rail operator is maintaining a safe environment. It goes without saying really, but of course they require facial coverings in stations and on trains for all passengers and staff. They did stop the sale of food and drink on board a lot of services at the beginning of the pandemic. They have reintroduced that to the majority of trains now, but if you would like any more information on exactly what's served on board the particular trains you'll be on, then do just let our travel consultants know, and we'll be able to give you a bit more advice on that. But they have reintroduced that now, but they did stop it originally. They've changed the seating configuration and allocation on board to allow for social distancing, so they have reduced the capacity down to around 60%. That will slowly start to increase back up to full capacity throughout the spring and summer this year, though. Of course, increased cleaning and sanitation at stations and on board the trains, and that'll just continue now, I'm sure. And contactless ticket control, so we're all getting used to contactless, I'm sure. Can't remember the last time I paid for anything in cash, to be honest, and it'll be the same with our tickets and our documents now, all likely to be on our phones, just for better hygiene and sanitation. Okay, so let's get cracking with our holidays, and the first one we're going to look at today is a holiday a bit closer to home. As I mentioned earlier, the UK, Scotland specifically, has been incredibly popular for us this year. We've had a lot of inquiries for the Jacobite steam train, that fantastic trip from Fort William up to Malaga, and a lot of people looking to get out to the islands, and the Isle of Skye in particular. So we have an Edinburgh, Isle of Skye and the West Highland Line holiday here. So that's 10 days. Starts in Fort William. You'll have 2 nights in Fort William. You'll get 3 nights on the Isle of Skye itself. Quite unique. Not too many operators offer accommodation on Skye. Sometimes you just get a day trip, but we like to base you in Skye so you can really appreciate the island. You'll have 2 nights in Inverness, including a day trip to Loch Ness and Glenurquhart Castle, and then you'll have 2 nights in Edinburgh as well, including a historical tour of the Royal Mile and entrance to Edinburgh Castle. But like I say, you start in Fort William, and the real experience in Fort William is the Jacobite steam train. We'll have a look at that a bit more detail in just a moment. And you're going to get 2 days in Fort William, one to experience the Jacobite steam train and one to explore the surrounding area. There's some really nice walks to be done around the Fort William area. And then there's actually a transfer included for you onto the Isle of Skye. There's no trains that will take you right into the Isle of Skye. You can go to the Kyle of Loch Alsh, but then you'd have to make your own way to Portree, and it's quite a journey. So we actually include a private transfer for you all the way from Fort William through to the Isle of Skye. 3 nights, 2 full days on the island, and we do include a fully guided day tour of the Isle of Skye. As I say, not a great deal of public transport on the island, so when you're there, it is great to have a guided tour of the island so you can get to those remote spots while you're on the island. Just to mention, another possible option for you, if you do wish, would be to hire a car. We do have car hire out of Edinburgh, Inverness or Glasgow, so if you did prefer to self-drive onto the Isle of Skye, then we can offer that for you as well. That doesn't feature in this particular trip, but just another option for you if it did take your fancy. So as I say, 2 days on the island of Skye, and then there's another private transfer to Inverness, 2 nights in Inverness, and then there's rail transport down to Edinburgh. Now, we don't include the travel in and out of Scotland on this particular trip, but of course we can include trains from your local station if you wish. A really nice way to do it if you're traveling from the south actually is to take the Caledonian Sleeper train, which goes directly from London into Fort William. You spend a night on board the train. They offer a really, really comfortable service, a really nice way to start the trip. So if you would like us to include the Caledonian Sleeper up to Fort William to begin the holiday, we can do. Just an option for you there. So I mentioned the Jacobite steam train. This is the first part of the holiday you get to experience. It really is one of the world's most beautiful journeys. It winds its way through breathtaking Scottish scenery, passes lochs, mountains. That's the impressive Glenfinnan Viaduct that you can see there as it reaches Mallaig. When you get to Mallaig, you get a bit of time to explore that kind of charming little coastal community they have there before returning back to Fort William. So this is right at the start of the holiday. It really does start it off with a bang and really does feel like it's a special and unique trip. And as I say, it's perhaps one of the most breathtaking, not just in the UK, but in the whole of Europe. To make it extra special on board as well, we do perhaps recommend upgrading to first class on board the Jacobite steam train. Gives you more opportunity to get a table for two, especially if you're traveling as a couple. In standard class, more four-seaters. There are definitely more two-seaters in first class, and we can try and book those for you if you are traveling as a couple. If you're traveling as a group or there's a family of you, then of course we've got the four-seaters as well in first class. Definitely a bit more luxurious, a lot more spacious than what it is in standard class as well. A lot more extra legroom for you in first class. And they do offer the option of an afternoon tea on board as well if you're in first class. You don't have that option in standard class, but to upgrade to first class, it's about £30 per person. If you'd like to add on the afternoon teas as well, they only charge about an extra £20 per person for the afternoon tea, and we can pre-book that all for you should you wish to travel in first class. Just a really nice way to enjoy the Jacobite. As I mentioned, you're going to get a couple of days on the island of Skye to take in this incredible, breathtaking scenery that the island has to offer. So very remote. Not too many people actually get to stay on Skye or holiday on Skye. Usually it's a day tour, as I mentioned, but we do offer accommodation on the island with a full day guided tour with an expert guide. Might not mean a lot to you, but some of the highlights, areas called the Fairy Pools, Kilt Rock, Neast Point, will take you off to the remote areas of the island, so you'll get a real feel for it. And we've had a few people take this tour this year, and they said some magical memories were created on this tour. It's one of the best tours I think we offer across all of our holidays around Europe. And as I mentioned, we do overnight you on Skye, and one of the hotels that we use is called the Skibost Hotel, situated in around 20 acres of woodland right on the edge of a loch. It's got fantastic views out to sea, only has 18 bedrooms, and it's got its own golf course. You can go fishing, and only a 15-minute drive or taxi drive from Portree, the capital of the island, so really well situated. So that's our first trip. Like I say, the two real highlights for me there are the Jacobite steam train and the Isle of Skye, but you also get a couple of nights on Inverness to see Loch Ness, and you get 2 nights in Edinburgh as well. So a really nice trip for a special occasion if you're looking to stay a bit closer to home. For anyone traveling a bit further afield, maybe this year, we're thinking of planning it into 2022. Our most popular European holiday has always been our grand Venice, Florence and Rome. So this is a 7-night, 8-day holiday, starting in London with the Eurostar to Paris, and then you've got the high-speed TGV down to Geneva. You're going to have 1 night in Geneva. You'll arrive into Geneva about 6:30 in the evening, so you can have a nice bit of dinner by the lake. And then the following morning, you're going to take a trip through the Simplon Pass between Geneva and Venice. Breathtaking journey that takes you through the Swiss Alps at the right time of year. And if you're lucky enough with the weather, you might get to see the sunrise over the Swiss Alps. It really is a highlight of this particular trip, and a really, really nice way to travel if you are doing something for a special occasion. You'll get into Venice for about 2:30 that afternoon. And then you've got 6 nights in the 3 major cities of Italy there, 2 in Venice, 2 in Florence, and 2 in Rome. We include a gondola ride, a walking tour, and entrance to the Doge's Palace in Venice. You get entrance to the Uffizi Gallery in Florence, and we include an ancient Rome and the Vatican Museum tour in Rome as well. To get back from Rome, you've got a couple of options. You can either fly straight back to London, or there is a direct train. If you wish not to fly up to Turin, you can have a night in Turin, and then there's a high-speed TGV train that goes direct from Turin to Paris, and then you can take the Eurostar back to London. So this is a 7-night, 8-day holiday, or a 8-night, 9-day holiday if you wish to add the night in Turin on the way back. So as I say, you'll be arriving into Venice on that second day. For me, there's probably no better city in the world to arrive into by train than Venice. When you get out Santa Lucia station, you walk down the steps and you'll have the Grand Canal in front of you with the building seemingly floating on top of it. It isn't an experience that you get when you fly in. If you fly in, you'll take a boat straight over to the island and you'll miss that wow, jaw-dropping factor when you walk out of the station and you see the Grand Canal and the island for the first time. So it really is a fantastic way to arrive into Venice by train. You'll get 2 full days in Venice. As I say, we do include a walking tour where you'll get to discover some of the city's hidden gems, also a gondola ride as well, and skip the line access to the Doge's Palace and St. Mark's Basilica, which are, of course, 2 of the city's most popular monuments. Between Venice, Florence and Rome, you'll be traveling on board Trenitalia. The Italians do have a really, really nice high-speed rail service. All the standards of class are great. They do premium class, business class. They also have an executive class as well, which we can see a picture of here. Exclusive reclining seats in this dedicated carriage, complimentary drinks and meals as well, and lounge access at dedicated stations. As you can see, there's only 6 in each carriage. So again, if it is a special occasion, if you're looking to travel in a bit more luxury, Trenitalia do offer executive class on board, but all the standards of class, as I say, that they offer on board are very, very nice and very, very comfortable. Throughout your stay in any of our on any of our holidays, as I said, we offer the opportunity to upgrade throughout. Really, the holidays are tailor-made to you. Here is an example of a hotel in Florence called the Belmont San Michele that we offer. It's a 5-star hotel in Florence, set up in the hills of Fiesole, just outside of Florence. Belmont are the company that operate the Venice Simplon Orient Express, and they do have a few hotels dotted around Italy as well. So if you are celebrating a special occasion, let's say you were celebrating that birthday or that anniversary in Florence, you could upgrade your hotel in Florence, but you could keep the hotels in Venice and Rome as the 4-star quality if you wish. So everything can be mixed and matched to your liking, and this is an example in Florence of one of the 5-star options that we have. This is a view from the breakfast area on the balcony of the hotel overlooking Florence. You can just see the Duomo Cathedral in the background there. But as I say, any of the destinations that you travel to, if you wanted to upgrade in just that particular destination, we could do that for you. It really is up to you. I mentioned in Rome as well, we include the Ancient Rome tour. That does include skip the line access to the Colosseum. You're led by an expert guide. You'll see many of the main historical attractions that Rome has: the Pantheon, the Trevi Fountain. We mentioned the Colosseum as well. You get to see the Spanish Steps. And of course, you'll also get to take a trip around the Vatican and see the Sistine Chapel. So if it is your first time to Rome, you've got a couple of days there. We know that your time is precious. We know that there's a huge amount to see. So we include these skip the line tours as well to make sure that you're not wasting any time queuing up, or in fact, that you don't miss any of those great excursions and highlights that Rome has to offer. So that's all included in your holiday. Another destination that's become very, very popular for us, especially for people looking for something a bit different, is Scandinavia. And we do offer a Scandinavian Grand Tour, which is 9 nights, 10 days, where you get to see Copenhagen, Gothenburg, Oslo, and Stockholm. So this starts in London, and you take the Eurostar over to Brussels this time. And then from Brussels on to Cologne for 1 night. Anybody that's traveled to Cologne before will be aware of the fantastic Gothic cathedral that there is right by the station. So you can spend the evening in a hotel with views of the cathedral and have a nice meal in the area there before traveling on a high-speed German ICE service to Hamburg and then on to Copenhagen for 2 nights. We do include a tour of Copenhagen while you're there, and then it's on to Gothenburg. Gothenburg, very, very famous for its cuisine, does have a huge number of Michelin-starred restaurants. From Gothenburg, it's then on to Oslo. We include a 2-day Oslo pass there as well for you, so you can access a lot of the museums for free. Oslo's got some great culture and heritage and some fantastic museums to see while you're there. And then it's on to Stockholm for 2 nights as well, and we do include a tour of Stockholm as well. Then you've got a flight back to London. Again, of course, you can take the train back if you wish, but if you are going to come back by train, it will be covering the same route as before. There really isn't a different way to get back from Stockholm. It's going to be Copenhagen, Hamburg, Cologne, and then back to London again. But perhaps in addition to this, if you wish, if you were looking to extend it out, you can take the ferry from Stockholm over to Helsinki. We do have a Scandinavia and then Russia tour. You can go to Helsinki, then on to St. Petersburg by train, then on to Moscow, and then you can fly back from Moscow to London. So if you were looking to extend this trip out to include Helsinki and Russia, we can do that for you. It's a really, really nice add-on if you were looking to expand this holiday. So you're going to start by seeing Copenhagen, a beautiful harbour city, of course, kind of straddles two islands. And we include a guided canal and harbour tour for you as well. You'll also get to see the Tivoli Gardens, visit Kronborg Castle as well. So it really is a fantastic tour around Copenhagen. And Copenhagen also very famous for its nice little bars and restaurants at the harbour. So you've got plenty of time to enjoy dinner that evening and relax in one of the many bars harbourside. You got a day in Gothenburg, and as I mentioned, Gothenburg very, very famous for its cuisine, uses a lot of local produce, boasts several Michelin-starred restaurants. Hopefully they won't be too expensive, but really, if we are going to recommend you go out and spend a bit of money on a meal anywhere in Scandinavia, Gothenburg's the place to do it, in one of their famous worldwide reputation restaurants. Then you've got your 2 nights in Oslo. This is a picture of the Viking Ship Museum here. We offer an Oslo pass, as I mentioned earlier. It does give you free admission to a lot of the must-visit attractions, like the Viking House Museum, also Oslo Winter Park as well. And it also gives you free public transport around the city in selected zones and discounts in restaurants around the city. So we include a 2-day pass in Oslo as well. And finally, you've got Stockholm, where we do include the walking tour. You get to see the old town. You also get to stop by the Royal Palace in Stockholm and learn a bit about the Swedish royal family. And we also include a ferry ride out to an area called the Djurgården, where you visit a museum there that has an ancient warship actually that was sunk in 1628 and has been painstakingly restored. But it's a really, really nice afternoon out to this island, to this museum, to see this ancient warship. So we do try and include a bit of culture, a bit of history, a bit of heritage into these trips for you as well. For anybody looking to go a bit further afield, we do of course offer our holidays over to the US, and one of the most popular ones is our jazz, blues and rock and roll. This one starts with 2 nights in Chicago. You then spend 1 night on board the Amtrak rail services down to Memphis. You have 2 nights in Memphis, where we include a sightseeing city tour as well and admission to Graceland. And then it's the train down to New Orleans for 3 nights, where we have a sightseeing city tour and also a battlefield cruise in New Orleans aboard a paddle wheel steamer, which is a really, really great trip. So just to mention, this particular trip, which is 9 nights, 10 days, doesn't include flights, but we can include the flights for you. So that price you see there, £1,049, is without the flights, but we can include the flights for you, of course, should you wish us to tag them on for you. Alternatively, you can book your flights yourself if you wish. So you start with 2 nights in Chicago. We offer a multi-day hop-on, hop-off tour of Chicago. Gets you around. It's a large city, as I'm sure you can imagine, but it gets you around to be able to see areas like the Navy Pier, the Sky Deck in Chicago, Millennium Park as well. It also offers dinner in a couple of popular restaurants in Chicago as well, for free, so you can go and eat out in Chicago without incurring any more costs. Something I would highly recommend in Chicago as well is what's known as the Architectural River Cruise. It was voted the #1 attraction in the whole of the US a couple of years back, and it takes you down the river that cuts through Chicago, and it talk you through the city's history via the architecture. Chicago, of course, very, very famous for its architecture, and it's a really, really fantastic option if you want to see the city by the river. As I mentioned, as you're traveling from Chicago down to Memphis, you're going to be traveling via Amtrak, and a couple of options for your overnight stay. You can either choose the roomette option or the bedroom option on board. So if we take a look at the roomette option, first of all, this is for any of you that are seeking your privacy, but also to save a bit as well. The roomettes are a bit more cost effective, of course, than the bedroom. So the roomettes feature 2 comfortable seats by day, and then they're folded down to upper and lower berths by night. Each room includes that big picture window, so you can see that great scenery. Also, of course, fresh towels and linens for you each day. And you do have access to a private restroom, toilet, and shower, but it isn't included within your little carriage there. That is private to you and the rest of the carriage. Food is included throughout. As soon as you upgrade to any of the sleeping accommodations on board Amtrak, you do get all your meals included, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And the food is freshly prepared on board, locally sourced, and it is really, really nice fare. So you get a really, really good lunch and dinner, and traditional American breakfast as well on board each day. If you are looking for a bit more space, excuse me, sorry, there's a picture of the roomette from the carriage. But if you're looking for a bit more space, you can upgrade to the bedroom, a bit more comfort, extra room there. The bedrooms provide around twice the amount of space as a roomette does. They do feature a sofa and an armchair by day, and then you've got the upper and lower berths by night. But the big difference here is that each room does include a toilet and shower. So you do have your own private toilet and shower within your rooms there. And again, all your meals are included throughout. And there's just a picture of what it looks like by day. So you've got the kind of sofa on the right and the armchair on the left. After your night on board Amtrak, you're going to arrive into Memphis, very famous for its music, of course, country, and for Graceland. You will have a narrated tour of the city. You'll visit Beale Street, Sun Studios, Gibson Studio as well, and as I mentioned, a Graceland tour as well, where you'll be able to get up close with, I suppose, everything that Elvis treasured most and get a glimpse of his life. You'll also stop in what's known as the Meditation Garden as well to see the final resting place of Elvis and his parents. So anybody that's a fan of Elvis, anyone that's a fan of music, country, and then jazz, of course, when you get to New Orleans, this is a really, really nice way to experience these cities. In Memphis, we include one of the most famous hotels in the whole of the US, and definitely the most popular hotel in Memphis, which is called the Peabody Hotel. It's right in the heart of Memphis. Very convenient location, just a few blocks from Beale Street. Also, the National Civil Rights Museum is just around the corner as well. The Peabody itself features on a lot of tours of the city. It's actually one of the most popular highlights of the city itself. It has a very famous duck show, which you can see clips of online these days as well. They're called the Peabody Ducks, and they march from the Grand Lobby all the way out to the foyer and into the lake at 11 a.m. and 5 p.m. every single day. It's a time-honored tradition dating back to 1933, and it is a tourist attraction, and people come to see it every single day, but you actually get to stay in the hotel itself. And then finally, you get 3 nights, 2 days in New Orleans. Of course, famous for its jazz, and you do get to start the day in New Orleans with a jazz brunch at a famous restaurant called the Court of Two Sisters. And after that morning brunch, you then get a half day to explore the city for yourselves. On your second day, you get to enjoy a battlefield cruise and take in the sights of New Orleans in the French Quarter from, I suppose, a unique vantage point on the deck of an old-fashioned paddle wheel steamer. You also get to stop off at a historic landmark where there was the Battle of New Orleans in 1815. And you'll have an expert guide who'll talk you through the history of the battle. So any history buffs that we might have on today, it's a really, really nice tour. I'll talk you through the history of the cities. You travel down by paddle steam, and then you'll actually get to hear about Andrew Jackson and the 1815 Battle of New Orleans. Okay, finally today we're going to look at our most luxurious trip, which is the Venice Simplon Orient Express to Venice with the Glacier Express and Bernina Express. So the Venice Simplon Orient Express, as you can imagine, I'm sure, is our most popular luxury train. And this holiday is our most popular one, which features the Venice Simplon Orient Express. I think because it gives you that luxury of traveling on the Venice Simplon Orient Express, and also gives you the fantastic scenery in Switzerland with trips on the Glacier Express and the Bernina Express. So you spend 2 days on board the Venice Simplon Orient Express, traveling from London all the way through to Venice. You get 3 nights, 2 full days in Venice, and then you're going to travel back through Switzerland using the Glacier Express and the Bernina Express. You're going to get 2 nights in St. Moritz. You're also going to get 2 nights in Zermatt as well, and finish with a trip on the Gorner Grat Railway to get some incredible views of the Matterhorn mountain. So, as I mentioned, the Venice Simplon Orient Express departs from London Victoria, actually, and you'll board what's known as the British Pullman, which is the UK version of the Venice Simplon Orient Express, I suppose. And you'll spend a few hours travelling from London Victoria down to Folkestone on the British Pullman. You'll get a 4-course Bellini brunch included as well. When you get to Folkestone, you'll be transferred onto a luxury coach, which will take you under the channel, and then you'll arrive in Calais, where you'll board the Venice Simplon Orient Express. When you arrive, this will be how your cabin looks. It'll be set down. Your luggage will be waiting for you in your cabin. As you can see, very opulent, very traditional. They are quite small, the cabins, but the reason for that is that they are kept to the same standards, the same sizes as they did back in the days of the original Venice Simplon Orient Express back in the 20s, when that journey went from Paris all the way through to Istanbul. So they've been renovated, restored, of course, but they are in keeping with how they would have been all those years ago, which means that there are no showers, no toilets included in the cabins. You do get a wash basin, but there is a shared toilet facility, of course, in the carriage. You'll spend the first couple of hours kind of getting used to the surroundings, relaxing in the cabin, watching the world go by. Just to mention, on the Orient Express, you do get some fantastic scenery as well. The train does travel through the Simplon Pass in Switzerland or the Arlberg Pass in Austria, depending in which direction you're going. So you will get to see fantastic views of the Alps as you cross from Switzerland into Italy, and from Austria into Italy as well. After spending some time in your cabin that afternoon, you can retire to the lounge car before dinner. Really nice area to meet your fellow guests, have a drink. There'll be a pianist there for you to help you relax and entertain you maybe for an hour or two before you eat. And then you'll go in for dinner around about 7, 8 o'clock, and you'll have a 5-course meal. It is very formal on board the Orient Express. I'm sure many of you will have heard that. It is black tie or tuxedos for the men, and it's evening dress for the women. As I say, 5-course meal, food freshly prepared on board, really is high-end Michelin star quality, bottle of wine between you as well, really intimate, private dinner on board. You get to socialize in the lounge car, but when you're having dinner, it really is just for the two of you. After dinner, you can relax back to the bar car. This will be open until the early hours of the morning. In fact, it'll be open until the last person retires back to their cabin that evening. So a really nice way to spend the rest of the evening before going back to your cabin. And when you do retire to your cabin, your beds will be made up. As you can see here, you've got an upper berth and a lower berth. Now, just to mention, if you do wish to have 2 lower berths, if you don't want an upper bunk, they can include what's called, or they can offer you a cabin suite, which is 2 interconnected cabins. So you can have 2 lower berths. They do offer a 50% reduction on the second cabin. There aren't too many of these available on board the train, but it is a good option if you wanted to travel on board but not have the upper berth and you wanted the 2 lower berths. Alternatively, if you wanted to really travel in luxury and style, they do now offer what's called the Grand Suite on board, which kind of looks like a palace on wheels, I suppose. The only option on board for a double bed, the only option on board for your own private shower. This really is an ultimate luxury experience. If you're looking to take one of the most luxurious trains in the world in the most opulent and stylistic way, then this is the best option for you. It does take the price from kind of 5,000 per person up to around 10,000 per person, just to give you an idea. So it does double it. But if you're looking for something extra special on that special occasion, then this is perhaps a good option for you. In Venice, one of the upgraded hotels that we offer is called the Sena Centurion Palace. It is a 5-star hotel right in the center of the island, very close to the Basilica of Santa Maria and the Guggenheim Museum. And it does offer views of the canal. You can't quite see it there from where this photo has been taken, but out of a lot of the windows, there are views of the Grand Canal. And when you're in Venice, we do often like to offer you the option to upgrade to rooms that do have a view of the Grand Canal, especially if it's a special occasion for you. It just makes that stay a bit extra special. As I mentioned, when you're traveling back from Venice, you're going to travel on the Bernina Express, and you're also going to travel on the Glacier Express. The Glacier Express, affectionately known as the slowest express train in the world, it only runs at about 25 miles per hour as it takes you through those mountains and snow-capped peaks of Switzerland. It'll take you all the way from St. Moritz to Zermatt. It's about a 7-hour journey. As I say, it takes you through some spectacular scenery. And the most luxurious way to do it is to travel in excellence class on board the Glacier Express. This is a new option. They've had these carriages for only a couple of years now. And it really is the most spectacular way to enjoy the Swiss Alps. You can see those fantastic panoramic windows to give you incredible views. You'll also have a 5-course meal with accompanying wines while you're on the trip. Delicious cocktails as well. It's got its own private bar. There are only 12 seats in excellence class, so they do sell out quick, but it is very exclusive, very intimate. You also have your own concierge for the entirety of the journey, answer any questions that you might have, talk to you about the surrounding area. They have lots of exciting anecdotes about nature, culture, the people, the history. So really, really fascinating way to discover Switzerland and see it in all its glory. And finally, when you arrive in Zermatt, you're going to have a trip on the Gornergrat as well. The Gornergrat Railway was actually the world's first fully electrified cog railway and does remain Europe's highest open-air railway. It just takes half an hour to climb from Zermatt all the way to the top of the Gornergrat. And if you're lucky, there's a strong possibility of seeing some wildlife, maybe some ibex on the mountainside. And then, of course, when you get to the top, you're going to have those incredible views of the Matterhorn mountain. So that's all included in your trip as well. Okay, so that's our 5 holidays. We had the closer to home Scottish holiday. We had the Venice, Florence, and Rome option for you. We had our Scandinavian Grand Tour. We had our Jazz Blues Rock and Roll in America, and we had our Venice Simplon Orient Express, including the Glacier and Bernina. So hopefully there was something there that caught your eye and took your fancy. If not, as I say, we've got plenty more for you to see on the website. If you did want to delve a little deeper into any of these holidays as well, please don't hesitate to give our travel consultants a call. They've been pretty starved of people to talk to over the last 12 months, as you can imagine. So they're kind of chomping at the bit to start talking about holidays again. So they really are looking forward to answering any of your questions. And even if you're not ready to commit or book right now, if you do just want to get an idea of what's possible, we can start planning these holidays out for you now, like I say, all the way through into 2022 or 2023. But if you do have any imminent questions right now, just let me know. I'm just gonna put myself on mute for a couple of minutes, and if there's anything that I haven't covered or that you'd like to know, just pop it into the questions box and I'll try and answer them for you as best as I can. Thanks very much. Okay, thanks everybody. We have had a few questions come through, which I'll try and do my best to answer. Now, I've got a couple come through from John, actually. Thanks, John, for these questions. So first one asks, can John use his 2Together rail card in the UK? And are there any rail card discounts in Europe? So John, very good question. So anybody that has a 2Together rail card or a senior rail card, for that matter, gets 5% discount on all of our holidays. So that's not just the rail. We actually give you 5% off the entire holiday. So that's everything from rail to tours to hotels, and that's not just in the UK, that's across Europe as well. So not that you can use your rail card to get the discounts on the trains in Europe, but we also offer an additional 5% off of the price of our holidays if you have a 2 together or a senior rail card. So hopefully that helps. It'll offer you a bit of a discount as well. And John also asks or mentions that you need to be on the correct side of the train on the Jacobite to see the views. That can be true. The good thing, I suppose, is that you go in both directions on the Jacobite. So hopefully at some point you're going to see the best views on one side. I mean, the best thing really is to try and book as far in advance as possible, so we can try and book the seats as early as we can, especially if you're looking for first class, because they do sell out quite quickly. But as we have relationships with all the rail providers, so we can make requests for you if there is a particular side of the train or even a seat that you wish to be in. We can make those requests. I suppose the best way to try and guarantee it, or to give you the best chance, really is just to try and get in as early as possible. They can be released anywhere up to 6 months in advance. So I suppose to answer your question, yes, absolutely. If there isn't a side of the train you wish to be on, let us know as soon as you can, and we can make those requests for you. And John also asks what size groups there are on Sky. It's a really good question, actually, especially right now. So the groups are a maximum of 12 on Sky. Usually the groups for our tours in Scotland are anywhere between 8 and 12 people. I think they reduced them down to 8 at some stage. I think they're back up to 12 now. So hopefully that answers those questions for you there, John. And thanks again, some really good questions. We also have a question from Jackie asking about the hotels that we use across our trips, and whether or not you have to stay in the hotels that we recommend. Very good question, actually, Jackie. I mean, what I would say is we don't have access to every single hotel in every single city. We do have partnered hotels that we work with, that we have a relationship with, that we know the quality, the standard of, that we get obviously good rates with. So what we'll try and do is find out what type of standard of hotel you're looking for, the quality, what it is that you like, and then try and tailor that to the hotels that we have in our portfolio, I suppose. If there is a particular hotel that you've seen and you would like to stay in, then do let us know, and we'll see if we can get it for you. Absolutely. But what we try and do is find out what's important to you, I suppose, and then try and tailor the accommodation that we provide based on what your specifications are. But good question. We just have one more as well from Stephen, who asks if it's possible to book these holidays online. It's not, actually. Very good question. You do have to give us a call. You can see the prices online, and you can see the itineraries online. The reason that you can't book it online is because there's so many different elements involved in these trips, from maybe 5 or 6 different rail journeys, 5 or 6 different hotels, 3 or 4 tours, maybe transfers included, flights as well, that we do have to double check the availability and the individual costs as we go, because they're quite complex. So unfortunately, we can't just click a button and everything books. What our travel consultants do is they'll be checking into everything for you live as you call, and making sure that it's all available. So if you do wish to book, you can get a very good idea of what the cost's likely to be and what's included online, but you will have to give us a call just so we can double check everything for you before we go ahead. But really good question, Stephen, and appreciate that. So great, that was it. Some really great questions today. I hope you all enjoyed it. Hope you took some good information away, and I'd love to hear from you, if you're looking to hear any more. And thanks ever so much for joining me. I know it's been a tough year. I hope you're all doing well, though. Hope you stay safe, and I hope you can all get out and about on your holidays pretty soon. So take care of yourselves, and we'll speak to you soon. Thanks ever so much. Bye-bye now.